All right, guys, we are soon going to talk about why Stephanie Vaquer is going to be the new Women's World Champion at Clash in Paris. Let's talk more about it at the Pink Square Circle. Hey guys, we back at the Pink Square Circle. We'll talk about why Stephanie Vaquer is the new Women's World Champion, why Stephanie will win the Women's World title. You guys get the likes as we come into the Pink Square Circle. I will go over reasons why Stephanie's going to win the title, why she's the best candidate, and why Rhea Ripley and Io Sky will not be winning that title. Now, we know, with circumstances that happened this past Monday Night Raw, with Naomi vacating the title, we need a new Women's World Champion. And I think it comes down to, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to three individuals. It's going to be Stephanie Vaquer, it's going to be Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky. Now, Stephanie is the best candidate because Stephanie is, as they say, the newest kid on the block. She is just came to Raw not too long ago. She's buzzing. The crowd's over with her. But we'll see what's going to happen next because originally she was supposed to face Naomi, but, seemed like it was going to be a good feud, one-on-one match for the title. We see that's no longer.
Or however you say it. We haven't met yet, but I am the women's world.
And Naomi, the previous champion who won the championship at WWE's Evolution, cashing in, she was supposed to originally face Stephanie. But now, since she had to vacate the championship due to her real-life pregnancy with her husband, Baby Uso, that's not going to happen because originally it was going to be Naomi defending the Women's World Championship against Stephanie Vaquer at Clash in Paris. Because Stephanie did win the Women's Battle Royal at Evolution. Same night Naomi cashed in to become champion. Seemed like it was going to be a great scenario. But I will say that these two, they had the backstage segments. Naomi calling her Stephanie Vaquer or Stephanie Velcro. Very funny segments there. But it seemed like it was going to be the case. But now Stephanie, we got to remember, she did, like I said, won the Women's Battle Royal to become the number one contender for the Women's World Championship. Now, we see how WWE has done those things. Normally who is the last contender, the number one contender, they get the championship, or they more likely will put it on the championship on the person who was number one contender. They're more likely was going to win anyway. I like Naomi, but they more likely was going to get a championship to Stephanie Vaquer anyway at Clash in Paris. Everyone is high on her. Stephanie McMahon, the whole front office, everyone WWE loves Stephanie, but, if there's a chance it's not, like I said, besides Stephanie Vaquer, we can't say Io Sky. Her and Io had a match on Monday Night Raw back when she was part of NXT. That got interrupted in disqualification. So they're going to add Io Sky to the mix. Also, we can't forget Rhea Ripley is somehow going to be inserted to this match. The whole Rhea can't beat Io and all that stuff. And Rhea wants the Women's World Championship back. So that's why I said it's going to be a triple threat. We could see a Clash of Paris. It could be a possibility. It will be Stephanie Vaquer versus Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky at Clash in Paris. Now, if there's a small chance that Rhea Ripley is not a part of this match, because let's be honest, Rhea Ripley has been a part of every Women's World title match this year in 2025. Triple H has always inserted her in there because he loves Rhea Ripley. It could be a one-on-one match between Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky, because that seemed like that was going to be a good match too. Now, let's be honest, with the current storyline with Io Sky beefing with Asuka and of course Kairi Sane alongside with her, don't be surprised if Asuka and Io Sky Asuka and Kairi Sane, cost Io Sky the Women's World Championship. Now, if they were trying to come there and interfere, and Rhea's not in that match, Rhea could come down and try to even a score, but Rhea can also cost Io the Women's World Championship. We kind of seen that play out before, so there could be a way for Stephanie to gain that advantage and to get the pinfall victory and win the Women's World Championship at Clash in Paris, because I don't see any other scenarios of who's going to win this championship. Stephanie is the undisputed number one contender. She went through 19 other women, a 20-woman battle royal. If I'm not mistaken, maybe 30-woman battle royal. I think it was 20. And she beat all those women to become number one contender. I don't think they'll make her go through that, and just lose, especially now that Naomi had to vacate the championship. So they're going to have Stephanie win that because Stephanie is hot on Raw. They've been hot-shot her ever since she came to the company. Look at her NXT run. She came to NXT, immediately won the NXT Women's North American Championship. And then, maybe a few weeks later, she won the NXT Women's Championship, the first woman in history to hold both the Women's North American Championship and the Women's NXT Championship simultaneously. So don't be surprised if she's the next Women's World Champion, because that's how they position Stephanie. She's a hot commodity. She's been, over with the whole crowd. I could see them getting behind her and having her be the next champion. So, like I said, that's one reason I can see her win the championship, because she's over, and also she's the undisputed number one contender. Honestly, another reason I see her winning over Io and Rhea, let's be honest, besides Liv Morgan in 2025, Rhea Ripley's already won the Women's World title. She defeated Liv Morgan at the Raw Netflix debut back in January. Then after that, in March of this year, Io Sky defeated Rhea Ripley to become the Women's World Champion. So Io and Rhea already held this championship this year. So I don't want WWE to continue to put the championships back and forth on Io and Rhea. That would not be a good thing, especially with the roster they have on Monday Night Raw. It would be great to put it on a new person who's never held the Women's World Championship, or someone who hasn't held it in a very long time. So I would say Stephanie Vaquer is a great candidate to win this championship. I don't see anybody else winning it on the Raw roster. We have Lyra Valkyria. She's still tied to the Bayley Becky storyline. Becky's the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Champion for that title. She's not going to win it. I don't see anybody else that's qualified to win this title that's in contention of the Women's World Championship. I don't see anybody else coming from Friday Night SmackDown to win it. Doesn't make sense. Liv Morgan is still out with her injury. Naomi's out. Who else is going to win this title that makes sense storyline for the Women's World Championship? It has to be Stephanie Vaquer. Whether you like her or you don't, whether you're tired of her or you're not tired of her, they're going to put this belt on her at some point, and I think that's going to happen at Clash in Paris. It makes perfect sense to do that. Now, WWE at the time of this video have not made a formal announcement of what they're going to do for a replacement match since Naomi versus Stephanie Vaquer has not happened. I'm pretty sure it will be announced on the upcoming Monday Night Raw at the Go Home show before Clash in Paris of what they're going to do. Now, if it's not a triple threat or a one-on-one, maybe it's a four-way, maybe it's a ladder match, maybe it's I don't know what they're going to do, but whatever the result of that match is going to be announced for the Women's World Championship, Stephanie Vaquer is going to walk out of Clash in Paris the new Women's World Champion. I don't see who else will win this championship. Nikki Bella's a part-timer. She's feuded with Becky over the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Like I said, I'm thinking of all the women that's on Monday Night Raw on a regular basis. I can't think of anyone who is going to be the one to win this title. That would make sense besides Stephanie Vaquer. I'm thinking of all the women on the roster. There's nobody else, honestly. They don't even have that many contenders. Most of the women that's on Monday Night Raw, they're more of the mid-card scene that would more likely compete for the Women's Intercontinental Championship than the Women's World Championship in the main event when it comes to the women's division. So I don't see any other logical reason. Now, how long Stephanie Vaquer will win this championship for? How long she'll have for? Maybe she'll hold on for a while. Maybe for the rest of the year. Maybe beginning of next year. Who knows? But it would be the best decision out of the names that I mentioned to put the belt on Stephanie. And more than likely, like I said earlier, she was going to beat Naomi anyway. I think Naomi was already scheduled or penciled in, as they say on Unreal, to lose this championship to Stephanie Vaquer anyway. Naomi was never supposed to have a long title run when she won the title Evolution. This was just to, build her character, to cash in Money in the Bank, have a little run, and then end her heel run, and that's it. Because Naomi did just come from SmackDown to Monday Night Raw when she won the championship. So Stephanie Vaquer is the best choice. I don't know. Hopefully they book her right as champion. She has some good feuds. I would say they may have to bring somebody else from SmackDown to Raw for her to feud with. I would like to see that happen. But she's getting that championship. She, like I said, only other person, and I don't see this happening. This is a long shot out of the dark. Maybe Roxanne Perez could compete for this title and winning. I don't see that happening right now. And I talked about Roxanne Perez on this channel, and she is a future Women's World Champion. But right now, it's not the time for Roxanne to win this title. Somewhere down the line, yes, but not right now. Roxanne's still with Judgment Day in that stable, and of course, was just a recent Women's Tag Team Champion. So I don't see them putting her going for Women's Tag Team Champion, then immediately go to the Women's World Title picture that quickly, after just losing it. If anything, Raquel Rodriguez would be more. She could be a name, too, to qualify and be in the Women's World Title picture. I would love to see Raquel Rodriguez as well become a Women's World Champion, be a contender. Now that Liv's out, that could work. But more than likely, to be logical, if you guys watch Monday Night Raw on a regular basis, Stephanie Vaquer makes more sense. Like I said, other women besides Stephanie that's never held the title, Raquel or Roxanne, yes, they can work for the near future. I could see them contending and even win the championship. But Stephanie clearly is ahead of them as far as popularity and who the company wants to get behind to win the title right now. I don't see anybody else of that matter. Rhea and Io, they going to settle their feud. And whatever feud Io has with Asuka and Kairi Sane, I could see Rhea and Io teaming up and going against Asuka and Kairi. And then finally it becomes Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. And I could see Rhea Ripley finally defeating Io Sky one-on-one because she never defeated her. But they're not going to be the Women's World Champion. They already held the championship. They're good to fight, in the match to compete for it, but I don't see them winning it. It has Stephanie, again, it's the only option. I'm thinking of all the options on Monday Night Raw. I literally thought of every name that makes sense. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and say Maxine Dupree or Ivy Now or Natalya is going to win the Women's World Championship. Logically, that's not going to happen. It would be the biggest shocker in history if they would name one of those three women to do it. But if you think of the names alongside, like I said, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez, it's going to be and Stephanie. Stephanie's the option. She's going to win the championship. But she does need contenders. Like I said, Raquel and Roxanne would be good to contenders, but Stephanie's going to win that championship. And that's why Stephanie Vaquer will be the new Women's World Champion, why she will win the Women's World title. You guys let me know what you think. Who do you think is going to win the Women's World title? Who will win the vacant Women's World Championship and be the brand new champion? You guys let me know in the comment section below. Click the link below to the next video, guys. Until then, guys, I will see you guys later.